Little Flicker was a firefly, tiny and bright, ready for his very first night flight. He lived at the edge of whispering woods, where ancient trees touched the velvet sky. Tonight was special. He'd practice his glow, a gentle pulsing beacon, like his parents. Remember, Flicker, his mother had buzzed. Your light guides you home. It's a language. With a nervous flutter of his wings, Flicker launched into the twilight. The air was cool and smelled of damp earth and blooming night jasmine. He danced with his siblings, their tiny lights winking in the deepening gloom. It was a beautiful ballet, but tonight, Flicker felt adventurous. He saw a distant, shimmering glow. It was far brighter than any moon or star he'd ever known. "What's that?" he whispered to his older sister Luna. "That's the city, Flicker," she replied, her light dimming slightly. "Father says stay away." Flicker, however, was too curious. He wanted to see this magnificent light. He zipped past Luna, his own glow pulsing with excitement. Faster and faster he flew, leaving the familiar darkness of the woods behind. The shimmering glow grew, painting the clouds in hues of orange and yellow. Soon he was above it. It wasn't a single light, but a million lights. They stretched out like a glittering carpet, an endless sea of artificial stars. Tall buildings pierced the sky, adorned with flashing signs and brilliant windows. Flicker gasped. It was breathtaking, overwhelming. He tried to pulse his own light, a small, hopeful flicker, but it was swallowed, utterly lost in the dazzling display. He pulsed again, harder, faster, nothing. His tiny beacon was invisible. Panic began to flutter in his tiny chest, colder than the night air. Where was the forest? Where were his family's gentle glows? He looked down, but all he saw was a chaotic blaze. He looked up, but the sky was a pale, washed-out canvas. Only a few brave stars peeked through the haze. He was lost, truly, terribly lost. Flicker flew in circles, his wings growing tired. He bumped into a confused Luna moth who was also spiraling aimlessly. "I can't see the moon," the moth cried, her antennae twitching frantically. "It's too bright. I don't know which way is up. I can't see my family's lights," Flicker wailed. "I can't find my way home." He landed on a cold, hard ledge, his light flickering weakly with despair. A wise old owl, perched silently on a nearby lamppost, hooted softly. "Lost, little one?" the owl asked, his eyes large and knowing. "Yes, Mr. Owl," Flicker sniffled. "The city lights, they're too much." "Ah, light pollution," the owl sighed. "It confuses us all. The city's bright glow washes out the stars, hides the moon. It makes your own beautiful lights disappear. Many nocturnal creatures struggle." Flicker listened, a knot forming in his stomach. He hadn't meant to cause trouble. Now, he understood the danger. He missed the comforting darkness of his woods. He rested for a long time, watching the relentless, unblinking city lights. Then he noticed something, far below, in a small, green patch. Between two buildings was a tiny pocket of relative darkness. A park, perhaps. It wasn't completely dark, but much dimmer than the surrounding streets. With a surge of renewed hope, Flicker flew towards it. As he descended, the overwhelming glare lessened. He pulsed his light, and this time he saw it. A faint but distinct glow. It was still there. He landed gently on a dewy blade of grass in the small park. He pulsed again, stronger. He could see his light. He could guide himself. He looked up, and through a narrow gap he saw familiar constellations. And a faint, distant shimmer, the edge of whispering woods. Using the small park as a temporary haven, Flicker began his slow, careful journey home. He flew from one dim spot to another, using his own light and natural signals. It was a long, arduous flight, but he was no longer lost. He was guiding himself. Finally, as the first hint of dawn painted the eastern sky, Flicker saw them, the familiar, gentle, pulsing lights of his family, waiting anxiously. He flew into his mother's warm embrace, his own light shining with relief. That night, Flicker gathered all the young fireflies. He told them his story of the dazzling, confusing city lights and the importance of natural darkness. Our lights are precious, he explained. They are our language, our map. We must protect the darkness so we can always find our way home. From that day on, Flicker became a champion of darkness. He taught his community to appreciate the natural night and its impact. The natural world needed its darkness, just as Flicker needed his light.
Thanks for watching, friends. If you had fun today, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more magical adventures.